in Europe. Look, we're going to go over to Nick Ellaby in Norwich now, who is going to give us some updates in relation to the missing case of Gaynor Lord. Nick, thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Jake. Massive development here in Norwich at Wensum Park. We've just been told by Norfolk Constabulary that they have found a body in the River Wensum. They've also placed that body in a black bag. The family of Gaynor Lord has been informed. They are being comforted by specialist officers at this moment in time. We arrived on the scene just about 45 minutes ago, and the first thing we saw was the area of residential property we've been filming from in the last few days that has a clear line of sight of this part of the River Wensum at the bottom of Wensum Park, just on the northwest edge of Norwich city centre. The police have been focusing their search for Gaynor in this part of the river since Saturday. She went missing last Friday, and she was last seen by eyewitnesses in Wensum Park at around 4 p.m. on Friday. The police have now cordoned off the area we've been broadcasting from in the last few days. We've not been able to get anywhere near it. I asked a policeman why that happened. He couldn't give me any more information. We then came up here to the main road at the top of the park, which is being guarded by officers for the last week, and we saw Norwich fire engine arrive and then followed by a Norfolk Fire and Rescue Service van with a couple of boats. As you can see just behind me there, they're just preparing themselves possibly to go back in with a couple of dinghies. We saw two officers hurriedly putting on their wet weather gear and grabbing a dinghy and paddles from the top of their trailer and rushing down to the river, where they spoke with specialist officers at the bottom of the park here who've been searching this river, as I say, for almost a full week now. So that headline again, Jake, we've been informed by Norfolk Constabulary that they have found a body in the River Wensum, in this part of the river at the bottom of Wensum Park, where they've been focusing their search for missing mum of three, 55-year-old Gaynor Lord, for the last 7 days. So that body has been recovered. The family have been informed, and we're waiting for any more updates, Jake.
Nick, thank you for that update. Chloe, it sounds like this search has come to an end in the most tragic of ways. Obviously, Gaynor Lord, a mother of three, it's gripped the nation. Obviously, I think we were all hoping that we wouldn't get that sort of news at the end of it. But for the family, at the worst possible time of year, obviously the worst possible outcome.
Yeah, it's horrible for this to happen to them right before Christmas, to have this really sad news. I think there will be a sense of relief that they at least have an answer. Is she dead or alive? They now know, at least. There will still be questions lingering. Did she do this to herself? Did somebody else do this to her? You know, we'll probably have to wait for a post-mortem analysis for that. So there will still be questions, but at least they have got some clarity. No doubt the sting is still very strong for that family. It's a difficult time for them, and I hope that the media respect their privacy at this time.
And Mike, I mean, again, just an appalling tragedy. It's a story that's gripped the nation. The CCTV images of her leaving her shop where she worked, walking through the city, will be something that really stick in people's minds.
Well, I mean, it's the worst possible outcome, and I think all of us, our hearts and minds go out to the family, who will obviously be processing, the terrible news that we've just had. So, as much as we can, we stand with them. And
at Norwich Police, we haven't heard much about the family circumstances, which in stark contrast to Nicola Bulley. That approach was criticised in an independent report conducted into Lancashire Constabulary. Norwich Police, do you think now that the body has been found, Chloe, that we will start to learn a bit more about the story that sits behind this appalling tragedy?
I think that the police will have hopefully learned a lesson from the previous case and be a bit more respectful of the privacy, and perhaps will leave it more up to the family as to how much they want to reveal. It might be the case that the family do want people to see this tragedy and sympathise with them, or maybe they
prefer
prefer
the real person behind the news headlines.
Yeah, it will be different from person to person how much privacy they want they want from the press, and hopefully their wishes will be respected. But the police do need to tread carefully so that they're not attacked for making the same mistake twice.
And they have done quite well. But Mike, people go missing every single day across our United Kingdom. Very rarely do they get this sort of media attention. It was initially hoped by us all, including all our viewers here on talkTV and everyone here today, that release of the CCTV footage, that call out for help would lead to a good outcome. We've learnt live from the scene that in fact it's the worst possible outcome. It appears that Gaynor Lord's body has now been discovered. But why, unlike those hundreds of other people who go missing every single day, do you think this is a story, out of all of the stories that has sort of grabbed the news headlines and grabbed people's attention?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It either comes down to the fact that the police in this instance made a decision to release certain information or certain CCTV footage, or genuinely, I suspect it will just come down to somebody in a newsroom deciding, well, this is the story that we're going to run with. I'm glad that it happened in the sense that it has given the public the chance to tell the police anything that they could tell them, and for people to have eyes open and be looking for this poor woman. But of course, now the need for any media and any discussion of this really is over.
Yeah.